Wow. What a great way to get us started. Thank you, Tony Trischka. And we are also here today with Michael Days.
Howdy.
Hello,
Good to be
everybody.
here.
This is, I think, our fifth or sixth, maybe seventh dispatch from home. And I am Patricia Butler, the CEO and co-founder of ArtistWorks. We're an online music instruction company. And we are today with two of our master musicians, Tony Trischka. I think he's playing the banjo there. Yes.
Is that what they call this thing?
Tis a banjo. And Michael Daves, who is a very competent bluegrass guitar player, but also teaches bluegrass vocals at ArtistWorks.
And had a birthday yesterday, if I may add that.
Yes.
Belated happy birthday.
He turned
Thank you.
21 again.
Again, several times.
So, whoa, several. Wait a minute. Now you're getting into my territory. Wait a minute. Okay. So yeah, what a weird time we're in. How you guys are in the hotbed there. I mean, Michael, you're in Brooklyn, and Tony, you're in New Jersey. What's it like? Tony, tell us what's going on in your neighborhood and in your house.
Well, in our house, our kids, Sean and Zoe, are with us. And of course, my wife, Asunta, and my mother-in-law and brother-in-law are upstairs. And so we have a really nice situation here, I have to say, because so many people are in dire straits. But
Yeah.
fortunately, we're very lucky that we have everyone under one roof, and my wife is killing it, cooking these amazing meals every night. And in the neighborhood, very few cars, but a lot of people are walking with kids and
Yeah.
riding bikes, and I'm riding my bike. And so we get to go out of the house, and we've got a backyard. So in many ways, we're doing very well. And I'm just being on the older side. I'm staying home, and other people are shopping for me. So
Do you have the training wheels off of the tricycle or the bike yet, Tony? Or
it's getting late. I forgot I have a prior
Oh my God.
appointment. I've got a gig I've got to get to.
gotta go, right? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, let her rip. That's fine, Patricia.
No. Well, I'm very glad
He's a
that you're
banjo
out.
player. He's used to being teased.
Oh, God. I only fell over once or twice. That's about it.
So, Michael, how about you? You're in Brooklyn. Boy, there's been a lot happening in your neighborhood. What's happening in your house and around you?
Well, my wife and I we're lucky because we're used to working from home. I teach and record, and I have at home. I have private students, and I do ArtistWorks videos and recording. And my wife's visual artist and a luthier. She works on the musical instruments, and so we're really lucky to be set up and working where we usually work. And so it's been, I think, not as big of an adjustment for us as for a lot of people. And I have a lot of students who are out there, and they and their spouse, and they have like a 4 and a 6-year-old, and everyone's like crammed in a tiny Brooklyn apartment, like trying to work and do school, and it's just really feel for those people in those situations, because they're it's just really challenging to manage, and really challenging for people to find time and space for themselves at this time. So
Yeah. Well, it wasn't. Let's see, till about 10 days ago, maybe a little bit more, that I didn't know anybody that had this. I didn't. It wasn't hitting in my circle, and now I know 2 people that have had it. So I'm so thankful to have music, and I find it, as I've said multiple times, very therapeutic, not just to listen to it, but also to play it. So there's been a lot more playing in our house, that's for sure. So there's plenty of people here that maybe don't know for sure what we do. So I'm just going to tell everybody what we do. This is not meant to be a big ArtistWorks commercial. But I've learned from some of these broadcasts that people really don't. They have to go look and see what ArtistWorks is. So just to let you know, we've been around teaching the world music since 2009, and we work with these master musicians like Tony Trischka and Michael Daves and about 35 others. And they've come into our studios and recorded really everything pretty much that they know. And that allows us to teach pretty much anything a musician would want to learn. But what's unique is that students are able to submit a video to these great teachers, many of them Grammy artists, and each one of them will respond with a video to you, and we keep those 2 videos paired together so that everybody in the course can see that sage advice that each one of them gives to each student. So that makes us very unique, and it also keeps these guys really busy, especially with everybody at home now. So, Tony,
Yeah.
you've been doing this the longest, and Michael, you're one of our newer artists. Tell me a little bit about what's happening with all the video exchanges and students.
Well, I've definitely seen an uptick in numbers of submissions on my school, which is great. I always love it when people are involved, and a lot of people sending video to me for the first time, and learning what that exchange process is about. And it's great, to have that community. I think that, and we've been doing this online, building this online community for a long time. So it is a nice kind of point of consistency. I think when everyone else is having to like figure out how to do stuff online, all of a sudden we've kind of got it down. And so
Yeah.
we're it's been really supportive. I think people have been putting a lot of like helpful supportive comments on each other's videos, and it's a really good environment for learning. So
Yeah. And so Tony, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what's going on in your world too, Tony. You've been at this since, oh my gosh, 2011. You were one of our first 6 artists, and holy cow, you've been a great influencer in the world of banjo and bluegrass, and thank you for that. I really mean that sincerely. So has it been crazy, crazy busy, and are you kind of glad you're home and not out touring?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because many gigs. I mean, every gig I've had so far up through July and into August and even September. There's still some on the books, but those will probably go away. So basically, that's all kind of gone. And yeah, in some ways, I'm really glad. As Michael was saying, we're used to working at home. He does more from home than I do, I suppose. But I've been doing ArtistWorks, as you say, for I think it's 11 years now, actually, something like that, 10 or 11 years.
It's
And
at least 10, yeah.
yeah, and it's just been this consistent thing, and it's great that I have this, and I thank you for that, Patricia and David,
Yep.
your husband, who both of you started this, and it's just great to have. I can earn a living, continue to earn
Yeah.
a living through ArtistWorks, and anyway, so it's been. I've noticed the same thing: the uptick in more people signing up for the first time, and larger numbers per day of people sending in videos. Not every day, but definitely more than it's been, and that's great because it's keeping me busy and keeping me out of my family's hair. I'm in the basement
Yeah.
where they can sort of tune me out. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing, I suppose.
We need to keep Tony Trischka off the streets.
And I just want to say, and Michael was talking about this also. It really is, and again, not to plug ArtistWorks, but it is a family. And like I look at my site as being that, the Tony Trischka School of Banjo, because everyone's really supportive when someone sends in one of these videos, as you say, as you were talking about. Other people, just other students, chime in and write on that person's student page what a great job he did, this sort of thing. It's a very supportive environment anyway.
Yeah, there's no flaming or anything, no trolling, nothing like that. So
No,
it's
nothing
good.
like
And actually, John Graves, the VP of ArtistWorks, just told me that you surpassed 8,000 video exchanges, Tony.
I'm so
8,000.
tired. I'm going to go to bed now. Thank you.
That's a lot of people. That's why I said at the top,
Yeah.
you've influenced a lot of people, and that congratulations to you. We're very honored to be that conduit. But do recall that, the name of the company is ArtistWorks, and there's a reason why it's called that, because, we really had the artists in mind as much as we had the students in mind way back when we named the company. There's lots of people that are signing in here, and I've asked them to tell us where they're from. And so I'm going to put a few things up here so that you can take a look at it and see where these people are from. I know Brian Bauer, and I believe that's St. Louis, is it not?
Yep,
He's,
Brian Bauer.
He may be a student of both of you.
he is. Yeah.
Yeah, is he? I know he's been around. He's guitar. He does it all. That guy
Yeah,
does
he
it all.
does.
Thank you,
He's
Brian,
really
for being
fun.
with us. Yeah, he
Brian
is.
always sends these really fun videos.
Yeah. And
And I
I'm,
think the only video I ever had with a belly dancer on it was thanks to you, Brian, if I remember correctly.
that's great. I love it.
Expect the unexpected with Brian.
I
Yes.
got to find that one. He's been around for a long, long time. And Brian,
Way from
thank
the
you so
beginning.
much for your loyalty. And here's Terry Davis from Arkansas, and then Wendy. I want to give these guys a moment to say hello. That's all. Gary is in
Wendy.
Ashland, Oregon. And a gentleman, Marcos, who's been on a couple of these broadcasts from Brazil. And Dina is from Florence, Oregon. And Kevin from Nazareth. Pennsylvania. That's not far from me. And then David Sykes is from Pikeville, Kentucky. Thank you for joining us. And Hillary West is from Toronto, and Kevin Blaustein is from Burbank. And then Julie, we'll just say hello to Julie from the UK. So a couple of questions, if you guys don't mind, unless you want to play something. Do one of you guys want to play something? Tony, you started us off. Michael, would you like to play something?
Sure, I'll do a little.
That would be great. That would really be great. Tell us a little bit about what you want to play.
I'm going to sing. This is a bluegrass classic called "The Prisoner's Song," which is.
Oh dear.
It's a great song.
It's hitting a little close to home there, Michael. But okay. All right. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
It has the distinction of when it was recorded in I think 1928 or 29 by a guy named Vernon Dalhart. It was the first million-selling country recording. And interesting thing about Vernon Dalhart is he was from Texas, but he lived in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
And so we can say this is, being the first million-selling country record, we can say that pop country came from Brooklyn, New York. That's the conclusion I like to draw. So.
There we go.
Oh, meet me tonight in the fall, meet me out in the moonlight alone. Will I have a sad story to tell? You must be told in the moonlight alone. Oh, if I had the wings of an angel, over these prison walls I would fly. I would fly to the arms of my darling, and there I'd be willing to die. Oh, meet me tonight, love, meet me out in that moonlight alone. Well, I have a sad story to tell, you must be told in the moonlight alone. Oh, I had a gold ship on the ocean. It was mounted with silver and gold. Well, before my little darling could suffer, oh, my ship would be anchored and sold. Oh, meet me tonight, love, oh, meet me out in that moonlight alone. Well, I have a sad story to tell, you must be told in that moonlight alone. Oh, must be told in that moonlight alone.
That was awesome. That was really great. Thank you for that. Great music. I really enjoyed that. We're getting a lot of nice comments on it too. Got such a great voice. You have a voice that's like from the 40s or the 50s. I don't know how. Why is that? I mean,
Well,
why do you have this kind of classic sound?
Well, a lot of listening. I mean, and I guess this is the singers I really appreciate. And also, let's come from a musical family, and my parents sang, and my grandfather sang, wrote songs, and recorded an album, and he wasn't really a bluegrass singer. He's more kind of folk, but he sang in that. He had a really good high voice, and so
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of being around the music, and I remember being in high school and hearing Del McCoury singing "High on a Mountain," and wanting to get the high notes, and I kind of strained for them. I didn't know how to do them right,
Yeah.
and I knew how to do them without injuring myself. But then eventually kind of learned, and so
Yeah.
something just powerful to me about bluegrass style. It's like a pre-amplification style. It's really it competes well with the banjo, with pretty loud instruments, like banjo and fiddle and mandolin, and
Yeah.
you don't need a microphone. You just show up and open up your case and sing to the back of the room, and it's so there's something sort of visceral about it that really appeals to me. Very emotional too. So
Yeah, I totally get that when I hear you sing. And I've heard you play with Tony. Maybe Tony, you could talk a little bit about some of the projects you guys have done before all of this, because I remember I saw you in Missy Raines's living room, if I recall. But you've certainly done some bigger projects than that. But Tony, tell us a little bit about some of your work with Michael.
Well, if I can go back, I tell this story not infrequently. This was, I don't know, when did I first meet you? 10 years ago? Longer, probably.
More, it's 2006.
2006. I was playing this bluegrass festival, local bluegrass festival in New York City, like in the 20s at some little park. And I got there early and I go backstage and there's some guy singing like crazy and playing this amazing guitar. And I went over to this guy and said, "Who are you?" And it's Michael Daves. "Oh, where do you live?" "Brooklyn." And he's been there for like 7 years. He's from Atlanta originally. And like, I would have been trying to play gigs with him for that whole time, all that lost time. Anyway, so we exchanged numbers. And then my family was with me, and my daughter, who was maybe 6 at the time, she left her purse backstage as we're driving home back to New Jersey. "Oh, Daddy, I lost my purse. I left it back there." And so I called Michael. He found it, took it home to Brooklyn. So I went back to Brooklyn, or drove to Brooklyn the next day to pick up my daughter's purse, and then we jammed and did a little recording, and that was it. But just last week, I have this thing called Quarantoni, that my son came up with that name. I think it's...
I love that.
Okay.
What's Quarantoni?
It's well, tomorrow night will be the fourth night. The first night, it's every Thursday night at around 8 o'clock. It varies, but tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I'm doing a solo thing. But last Thursday, I did a thing with Michael where we each filmed ourselves playing a particular tune, and then we overdubbed on each other's tunes. So we did, I think, 6 tunes, and then did some talking also. And we've done Rocky Grass. We've done all these festivals. I mean, too many things to mention, really.
Yeah, but it's good
just
history.
Lots of things, yeah. In fact, we're supposed to play Rocky Grass this year. We'll see if that comes to pass.
Let's see. Let's see. So, Tony, as I said, you've been with us for a while, and so here is a comment from Tony Lafferty. Can you see that, Tony?
Hi, Tony.
Thanks. Can you see that? I am a Tony
I
student.
can see it, yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't be able to see it from where you are.
Yeah. That's really nice.
But isn't that nice
Thank
from
you, Tony. That's really sweet. Thank you, Tony.
Isn't that nice?
So
and I don't know who Yvette McNeil is, but she's worried about Assunta. I kind of am worried about Assunta too.
Yvette, why are you worried about Assunta?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Assunta is Tony's wife, and she is a saint.
Yes, to live
never
with
mind.
a banjo player like me, she is a saint.
Oh, Tony. So there's just a couple other comments we will share here. Jerry, it's so nice to have you joining us. I don't think Tony or Michael, you have ever met Jerry. I could be wrong on that because we've had a couple of bluegrass getaways, but we have these contests where people can sign up and then they can come to the ArtistWorks studio when we have several of the artists in there. They get one-on-ones, they get to jam together. And Jerry was one of our winners for the big bluegrass giveaway.
Oh, I remember Jerry, yeah.
Were you there, Michael? Okay,
yeah.
good. Okay,
Yep.
so you did meet Jerry. All
Yep.
right. Yeah, he was a lot of fun, and we really are happy that he's joining us here too. That's really wonderful. A couple more folks, if you guys don't mind, saying, seeing who's with us. Karen Ruth is saying hello.
Wow. Hi, Karen.
And also, there's Jerry again. Yeah, Jerry. And then Allison is joining us from New Zealand, which I think is very cool. And I hope everything is going well there, Allison, and everyone's safe and healthy. Bob Olson is from Mesa, Arizona. John Vitale from New York City. I hope you're
John.
safe, John. My goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Walter Daves. Walter Daves.
Hey, I know
That name
guy.
sounds familiar.
Hey, Walter.
And he plays the banjo.
Yep.
He's related to one of the 3 of us. I can't remember.
Wait,
I don't
yeah,
think
which
it's
one?
me.
Hey,
Who is this, Michael? Who's
That's
Walter?
that's my dad.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Aw, we could have had him on here. Because then you guys, like Brian Sutton's dad is very musical, and your dad is musical. Mm-hmm. That's cool. All right, we'll just do one more here. John Palermo is from New Jersey,
Hey,
and
John.
he is a student of Brian Sutton. So, very cool.
Yeah.
So, couple questions here. Obviously, this is really weird time, and we all find ourselves at home. And my question to both of you is, and maybe I'll have Tony go first. I just wonder if anything has changed musically for you at home. Like, are you finding that maybe with a little bit more time, you're able to write music? Are you practicing more? Are you practicing differently? What's happening musically that might be different now than it was before?
Things aren't a lot different because family's taking up a lot of time, which is great. Just being with the family,
Yeah.
we're doing jigsaw puzzles and just watching shows together and having dinner together. So that takes some time in a really wonderful way. But I'm actually having a little more time. I've been writing some more tunes than I have in a while. And of course, the ArtistWorks thing takes up a lot of time, and that's a wonderful thing. So that hasn't changed that much. No, I'd say I'm practicing a little bit more. I have this thing that my son suggested that I try, besides just working with the metronome, he talks about playing, because he's a great drummer, and he said at one point, play along with funk music like Earth, Wind and Fire, or Little Feat, for instance. And I've been checking out Little Feat
Oh,
more
yeah.
in recent times and playing with a tune called Fat Man in the Bathtub. And Sean said, just like touch one of your strings. I touch the fourth string and just go back and forth with your thumb and index like this with the headphones on and just play along for a whole tune. And by the end of that, after 5 or 6 minutes of doing that, you find that you have this groove that you would not ordinarily have playing just with a metronome. So I've been doing more of that, and it's really fun. You stop, take off the earbuds, and then you start playing, and it's like, wow, that's really cool. So anyway,
So
some of that stuff.
so the groove just continues then with your playing is what
You
you're
just
saying.
get it in your
Yeah.
fingers by grooving with these bands that have amazing grooves. You can do it with James Brown or Stevie Wonder or whoever. I'm leaning towards Little Feat these days. So
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
fun.
Yeah.
And so let's just toss it back then to Michael. Is anything different for you musically? You making new explorations or discoveries?
Well, again, not a lot of difference. I spend a lot of my time teaching as it is. That's sort of been, my priorities. I go on the road some. I try to, keep my hat in the ring and, play the festivals and, get to, play with Tony. And there, been a bunch of really great local bluegrass musicians, local to New York in the last 10 or 15 years. But, largely I've just been teaching a lot and, like a lot of performing musicians have had a number of, things canceled, and just lucky that, I don't rely on the performing to as much a degree as a lot of people do who tour, and primarily or entirely. So I'm, unfortunate on that regard. But, I would say just, being at home, I've been thinking, a lot more about just how to use my home space to reach people, and, certainly through teaching. And I have a recording set up, which I've been developing, and been for a while now, kind of concocting a plan to start a small record label to put out some oddball projects that probably wouldn't see the
Cool.
light of day in other in other ways. And I think it's just thinking about there are various ways of reaching people through music, which you can do through teaching, can do through performing, can do through writing and recording and producing, and all these different ways. And so, I feel like limitations, for any creative discipline are so important. And a lot of the best limitations are ones that are like imposed on you, and they're a pain
Yeah.
to deal with. But hopefully, I think it's just try to have the best possible attitude and outlook about them, and oftentimes they're there to teach you something you need to know. And so I'm just trying to think about what is the substance of reaching people through music. And of course you don't have to be on a stage in front of people to reach people. So I think that's it's can be, or I find it can be like kind of a centering thing
Sure.
about like what are we doing here as musicians.
Yeah.
It could mean going traveling around, riding around a van, showing up and playing shows here and there. But whether you're on the internet or working with a student or performing or writing or whatever, you still got to reach people and convey experience and emotion through music, and hopefully give people the tools to experience that themselves. And so
Yeah.
I don't know, I find it it's hopefully overall a good limit to have on us at this at
Yeah.
this time.
It can be a good thing for sure.
Yeah.
One of the things that some of the other artists have been mentioning is what the students should be practicing at home, because there's always a lot of students that sign into these things, and most of them have been saying make sure you've mastered the fundamentals, get those building blocks. under your fingers if you've, if you haven't done that before. And Tony, I've heard you say before that one of your challenges is to help people unlearn bad habits. And I wondered if you have any advice to those students out there as to what maybe they should be working on while they're at home in case they have their instrument out more, or maybe they find that they have a little bit more free time to practice. Any advice there?
Well, I think that obviously the most important thing, and John Hartford said this, the most important thing is timing. So, working with a metronome or a drum machine or playing along with funk music, as I mentioned before, any of those things are super important. And I find that some people are playing with a metronome, but they're not really connected to the metronome. The metronome is clicking, and they're playing in a different place than the metronome. So I would suggest just try to have the metronome, the very slow click like this, and then play one note per click for starters. Make sure you can do that, and then try to do two notes. Boom, boom, boom. Pardon that interval, 2 notes per click, that sort of a thing. But really get with timing. That's the most important thing. And then for a banjo player, a lot of times people play, and one of their notes will be very quiet, like the first string might be really quiet, as opposed to, this is just for banjo players at the moment. And J.D. Crowe, this wonderful banjo player, called that separation of notes. You want every note you're playing, every note, to be really clear.
Yeah.
So those are two really baseline important things, and I always look to that when I'm listening to my people's VEs when they send those video exchanges in.
Yeah, I've heard you give that advice so often, separation between notes. And that's not important just for banjo. It's especially important for any stringed instruments, like that are plucked, especially.
Right.
Michael, any advice for students that are out there? That it's kind of hard to give blanket advice like that. I know it, but
Well, yeah, no, there are certain things that just being at home is good for working on. I mean, a lot of in bluegrass. First of all, I'll say that a lot of people, if they sing bluegrass, they just kind of pick it up, maybe at a jam session, or they're in a band and someone says, okay, you got to sing this song, or they don't really think about it as a craft or really something that you can learn or work on. I think they're within folk styles in general, that people don't really have always a great idea of like what is the process of working on your singing. Is it just something that's natural? Is it something that you have or you don't? So, and so it's really great when you're at jam sessions to just participate and practice picking up on things. But when you're at home, like most of us are right now. It's a really good time to work on, like Tony was saying, the fundamentals. And for singing, that can be breath work, making sure that you're able to sing any line of music with a steady application of breath. And kind of alongside with that, I think, especially in bluegrass style, since it tends to be like very high and loud, I think a lot of people end up like pushing, especially when you like go to the high notes. They like push and strain, or sometimes they might sing the low notes really quiet, and then they go to the high notes, and it's just they're knocking it out of the park. And so, when you're at home is a good way to practice, or a good time to practice balance. So being able to apply an even breath across an entire line. Practicing like getting an even dynamic from low to high within your range, and when people are at home and other people are at home with them working, and they maybe have to sing more quietly than they would if they were belting it out at a jam session. That can be really good, especially with you're trying to sing high, because I think some people, novices, will find that like if they want to sing something high, they have to sing it loud. But that's not great. It's really important to be able to sing anything quietly. Just to be working on some of those fundamentals of like learning to bring some balance to the singing, and learning to sort of self-diagnose, the ways we kind of lock up, like the jaw tends to lock up. Sometimes the people's tongue gets really, tense, or, like when they sing certain notes, they wince, and, like there's all this tension in the face. And like a lot of people, it's good to, take some time when you're alone to like kind of break that down and kind of learn how to do anything you're doing in the most effortless and relaxed way possible. And that's really hard to do when you're just jamming. So, it's good
for sure.
Good to have some time where you focus on that, and then you can bring those skills into your, performances or jams or whatnot.
Yeah, well, that's great advice. And
if I could just add one other thing.
yes, Tony, please.
Just listen a lot. listen to a lot
Yeah.
of, I mean, if you want to play the banjo, listen to a lot of banjo music, get inspired. I have my heroes, if we get a chance to play another tune, and I'm not implying that we should, but if we should, sorry, Patricia.
We're
one
going
of
to
my
have to
big,
let him play now.
no, I'm not hinting at anything.
No, please, go ahead. Go
One
ahead.
of my big heroes is Bill Emerson.
Yeah.
Who used to play with the Country Gentlemen and a guy named Cliff Waldron, and he just was one of my favorite banjo players to this day. And I would play one of his tunes. It was really a major inspiration in this particular tune. Or listen to Earl Scruggs or whatever, or singers, for Michael, listen to Del McCurry, listen to Bill Monroe, listen to Lester Flatt, whoever.
Yep.
Or Chris Thiele, who's an amazing singer, or Michael Daves, who's an amazing singer. But get the I'm talking to you. But get that.
You talking to me?
But get that inspiration. That's where you're
Yeah.
gonna get your inspiration. Or watch videos of Flatt and Scruggs from 1960 on the Martha White shows.
Yeah.
And those are all over YouTube.
Yeah.
The YouTube, as the kids say.
Yeah, and that's a recurring theme though too in these conversations that we've had is how important it is to train your ears, not just identifying intervals and such, but listening to the masters so that you hear maybe their interpretation of something or perhaps how they execute a phrase well and maybe
Yeah.
you don't. So
Yeah.
That's-
Or listen to a bluegrass song and only listen to the guitar through the entire thing, and then go back. Just listen to the banjo. Just
Yeah.
listen to the bass.
Break it
Yeah.
down.
So forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
break it down. Well, we
Yeah.
have quite a few comments here and a lot of thanks. So I'd like to just take a moment and post some of these. And then, Tony, we really do want to hear you play. I didn't mean to
Impugn
minimize.
my
No,
music.
not at
Oh,
all.
no.
I love hearing you play. And so I want to make sure that we get that in here too. So here's Mark Keene from Kentucky.
Thank you, Mark.
And also Mr. Guilfoyle, he's watching
Oh, yeah.
from Boston, and he's one of Tony's students. But he,
Tim.
thanks you for a good start.
You're welcome.
And then this is Stephen Davidson, who is now in Philly.
Yep. Hi, Steven. Yep.
And let's see. No, sorry about that. Where did we go? Okay, Gordon Ray. I'm sorry, I have to kind of search for these myself. I'm the tech as well as the MC. And then this is a gentleman who went to South
Oh,
Africa with
hey,
you,
Steve.
Tony.
Yeah,
Do you remember
Yeah.
Steve?
I do remember Steve. We had such an amazing time, and thanks for coming along on that, Steve.
There you
It was
go.
such a great time.
And here's really a very cool avatar. And I put this up because I like the cat avatar so much.
Yeah.
And then here's a person from Maryland saying hello, and somebody from California. And here, this one's interesting, from the Czech Republic. Tony.
Tony.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. How
Yeah.
are you? My roots.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then we have a gentleman here from Middletown, Ohio. And
Another
is that
cat.
the same person? Is that how could that possibly be? I must have clicked on it twice. Anyway, we do have a question here from Michael, and then I want to hear Tony play. Michael Daves.
What's with the mouth act? Oh, yeah, no.
This
I've
is
got-
Jerry. He has a
I've
question.
gotten-
We had to put it up there.
Yeah, no, it's I get teased about this a lot. This sort of like kind of chewing thing when I'm playing a break. And, yeah, I mean,
Is it
all guitarists
motivation?
have their own facial expressions.
Okay.
You
So
know,
it's not anything. It's not
No,
adding.
it's sort of inadvertent, and I do something when I'm playing. I would just as a brief jumping off point is that I really believe in as an instrumentalist and a vocalist. I think it can be there's tremendous value to connecting the what you're doing on the instrument with the vocals, and everything from just being able to play a vocal melody, like I hate to see that sun sink low, to actually literally play the melody with a lot of the original vocal ornamentation is really great. But also when I'm improvising, sometimes I will sing like and that's I will do that on purpose because it helps me connect my musical ear to what I'm doing on the guitar, so it doesn't just the muscle memory doesn't just take
Sure.
over and run away from the thing. So I mean, that's something a lot of musicians do, especially improvisers, is to sing along. And occasionally I will do that. Sometimes I will try to be my own metronome. I'll go like taka 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 taka,
Yeah.
like I'll like vocalize the rhythm. So I think since those are things I do when I practice, they're sometimes like you get this like phantom energy coming across in the performance, but mostly it's inadvertent.
Well, it seems like there's not a bluegrass face like there is in rock and roll. Like we had Paul Gilbert on here. And we were talking about how his
Yeah.
rock arena face changed from the 80s to the 2000s, but I don't think we're talking about that here.
It's important, yeah.
Well, Ralph Stanley definitely did not have a rock and roll face. It's just,
No.
that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not allowed
Yeah,
to smile.
that's
You're
just-
just not allowed to smile. It's just forbidden. Okay, so Tony, we'd love to hear you play. What would you like to play for us?
Well, I'll play a tune as long as Michael gets to. We have to have nuclear
Well, he
parity here.
sang a few minutes
Yeah,
ago.
I played.
so-
Okay, well, I just
All
wanna
right,
make
so it's
sure
your turn now.
Fair and
The big
fair
man from Syracuse. Here he goes.
This is a tune from the aforementioned Bill Emerson. He recorded this with the Country Gentlemen and on his own albums, and it's no longer politically correct, Cowboys and Indians, but that's the name of the tune. And it's probably the only bluegrass banjo tune in C minor.
Wow.
Yay!
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo, bravo. That was great.
It's a cool tune. It's a really cool tune.
Yeah.
That is great. What, I'm sorry, what was the name of that again?
Cowboys and Indians.
Cowboys and Indians. Yeah. Okay. So we need a new name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. We've got a couple of more comments here that they're positive, and so I think it's important that we say something there. So here is John Hall. He's glad he found us. We appreciate that, John.
Hey, John.
And Peter Garrett, he had an impromptu banjo lesson from you. Wow. In the 90s.
Great to see you, Peter. Thanks for
Yeah.
tuning in.
And then Jay Edelman. I
Hey,
don't know if-
Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Is this somebody we know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So, yeah,
I've got my W-2s all ready to go.
Okay, all right.
The accountant
All
of the
right.
Bluegrass Stars.
Yeah, right. I don't know who that is. So we're going to take that off of there. So here is a comment I want to read because it's a little too big, but it's from Jeff Holt, and he says, Tony and Michael, I subscribed to both of your programs back in February, and I am so
Great.
glad that I did. In
Great.
addition to growing as a musician, it helped me with my teaching as well. So he's a teacher, and he says he teaches music in Decatur, Georgia.
Ah,
And
my hometown.
yeah, there you go. Watching your videos and video responses has informed my transition to online teaching immeasurably. Thank
Wow.
you.
Oh,
That's
so
that's
glad.
cool.
That is very cool. And here's Gordon Ray one more time saying that he's been in Tony's school for 4 years and it's been great during this lockdown. I'm sorry about the sore fingers, Gordon, but just get used to it. You're just going to have to play a little bit more. That's the way this goes.
That's good, Gordon.
Yeah, that's great. So we have a few other folks here just coming in and saying hello. And
Hello,
I think
Jared.
Hey,
that's
everybody.
important
Hey,
just
Linda.
to say hi to everybody. And then this is a question I don't know the answer to. Oh, I think Tony is playing at Blue Ox this year. Did you, or you were planning to?
That was on the books with the Hen House Prowlers, and then it got canceled and moved. I don't have my calendar right in front of me, but they've rescheduled it for the fall. And hopefully we
Yeah.
can do that. And it would be great if Michael was there too.
Yeah, I sure hope all of these things just get rescheduled and we're all, back to normal. I just hope that happens, and I want you all back in Napa as well for another bluegrass getaway. That would really be wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Love to do that.
Well,
Really
I was-
looking
I was
forward to
supposed
it.
to be out there in early April. Gonna hopefully do some in-studio stuff and also play the Berkeley Bluegrass Festival with. Was gonna be with Lori Lewis and Alex Gerard and Tatiana Hargraves and Missy Raines, and I'm just killing me that we didn't get to go do that. I really hope that gets rescheduled.
I hope so too. That's a great group. I was thinking, Tony, you were coming out for Freight and Salvage.
Right, it was
Yeah,
the
and
same
Tony,
thing.
yeah.
Same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same thing, yep.
okay. It's the same thing. Yeah, boy, I'm sorry we're going to miss that. That's a bummer for me.
Yeah.
But we have so much fun when you guys come into the studio. And then also, we eat a little bit and we go out. Oh, that's a nice hand coming in the shot there. That must be Sean.
It's
Hey,
a
Sean.
disembodied hand. It's actually a Sunta.
That's fun. No, we always have a good time when you guys come up. And, we're looking forward to doing it again. I wanted to just mention one thing that Michael is doing right now and Tony will be doing next week. For those of you who like a little bit of a challenge while you're sitting at home, we've talked a bit about, maybe being able to practice things a little bit differently or get back to the fundamentals. But Michael has launched a 5-day bluegrass vocals challenge with ArtistWorks. And I'm sorry about the long domain name here, but I'm leaving it up there in case you, need
Yeah.
a moment to write that down. But Michael, can you talk a little bit about, what you're covering in the bluegrass vocals 5-day challenge?
Yeah. So this is a little mini course that I put together, and it's free if you sign up, and the ArtistWorks will send you a lesson a day for 5 days, and
Yes.
and each lesson I teach a classic bluegrass vocal standard, break it down, and also include like a vocal tip, that you could apply to any style that you might want to sing. They're kind of general kind of technique and some of that breathing and resonance work that we're talking about. And I was really had fun time putting those together, and it sort of address this this idea I was talking about earlier, is that people don't seem to really necessarily know what working on bluegrass vocals entails. So it was
Yeah.
good, I enjoyed just kind of laying out some of the basics, and just hopefully people will learn some great songs, and in some level of detail, that even if there are songs you knew or have heard at jams, really try to break them down and show like all the ornamentation and phrasing and whatnot that kind of makes those performances special, and that you could apply to other standards as well. So hopefully it'll be a good good time, and maybe a little bit of a revelation. I hope that people will come away with that with a sense of like, oh wow, this is what I can do to improve my singing generally, and make a process of it. So
Yeah, well, and what we did was we wanted to just have sort of a short period of time for people to focus their energies and have a goal, even if it's not a huge goal, or even if they don't make it, gives them something to work toward, to make meaningful progress, and to just enjoy, the reward of challenging yourself. And so Michael's is already up, and that is the destination that you can go to. And Tony, yours is coming next week. So do you want to take a moment and talk a little bit about what is in the challenge that you're going to be doing next week?
Sure, I took a tune that happens in jam sessions from time to time, a tune called June Apple. Suddenly my banjo got much lower, but it goes. Anyway, that's the low, instead of the high lonesome sound, it's the low convivial sound of the banjo. And anyway, I took two versions of this tune, one of which more for beginners, not absolute beginners, you have to be playing some, but using a roll called the Osborne roll, which I feature on my beginning classes, which middle index, middle thumb. Anyway, and that starts, for the first, I think it's the first 3 lessons, the first 3 days of that is the beginning, and then the last 2 days is the more advanced version, which I based on Doc Watson's version of it, which is a really fun thing to do for you folks out there. If you love a fiddle break for a particular tune, rather than just learning the banjo solo, learn what the fiddle did, or learn what Doc Watson did on the guitar for June Apple, and it's so cool. So anyway, so that's what mine involves, and various techniques are talked about. In fact, the more advanced one, I talk about single string playing, where you're playing certain strings 2 or 3 times in a row or more, or the melodic style, which is based more on scales, and then there's some Scrugsy. So it's actually combining the advanced one, or it's more intermediate, combines all 3 styles in one solo, so you get a taste of all of that.
That's cool. Well, I'm looking forward to getting that up and running. And
You're playing banjo, right, Patricia?
I will. Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, just checking. Thank you.
I won't even go there.
Ouch.
The thing that is closest to the banjo that is in my aura is like one of those cigar box guitars. Have you ever seen them?
Mm-hmm.
It's the cigar box is about, I don't know, about that big, and has like 4 strings. Yeah. Well, I won't go there, but it looks like a banjo kind of, except that it's square.
Maybe we should talk about something else.
Let's move right along here. So, well, I'm a flutist. I'm not going to pick up a banjo.
I know. That was
I don't know how to do it. So I was hoping that maybe Michael, you could play a little something for us. We're coming toward the end of our time, and then maybe also we could end with Tony. So Michael, you play something first, and then Tony plays a little something. I wish you guys could play together, but we can't do that.
Oh, I know. Yeah. It's
all right. Well, what are you going to play for us, Michael, or sing for us?
Good question.
Think.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I can put up a comment.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sure.
Okay, so here's Jimmy.
Hey,
Sorry
Jimmy
about
Scott.
that. This is Jimmy Scott from Knoxville, Tennessee. He was a student of Tony's from 2013.
Wow.
Joined the band, played gigs. Wowee!
That's
Holy
so
cow!
great to hear, Jimmy. I'm so pleased to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really
That's great.
That's quite an endorsement there. And thank you, Jimmy, for being a student of ArtistWorks. That's really great. So, Michael, have you thought of something now?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I'm going to do. This is a tune that Tony and I have played together many times. And
Oh, good.
It goes back to Lead Belly. It's one thing. Bluegrass and country music borrowed a lot of material from the blues and from folk traditions, and so this is the one that we played. And actually, the version that inspired me was by Peter Rowan, who is part of my curriculum. He came in and guested in it, and with Tex Logan fiddling, who's one of my all-time favorite fiddlers, and I chose it because it's nice and escapist. I think that a lot of us are sitting at home, maybe kind of dreaming about being somewhere else, and since you're dreaming, that can
like a restaurant.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
are we ever going to get to a restaurant again?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. When I Was a Cowboy. When I was a cowboy out on the western plains. When I was a cowboy out on the western plains, where the bullets were flying just like a cloud of rain. Come a cow cow, yicky, come a cow cow, yicky yicky yay. Come a cow cow, yicky, come a cow cow, yicky yicky yay. Oh, the hardest battle ever on a Bunker's Hill. Oh, the hardest battle ever on a Bunker's Hill. Well, me and a bunch of cowboys running the Buffalo Bill. Come a cow cow, yicky, come a cow cow, yicky yicky yay. Come a cow cow, yicky, come a cow cow, yicky yicky yay. When me and cowboys running to Jesse James. Me and a bunch of cowboys running to Jesse James. Well, the bullets were flying just like a cloud of rain. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yicky, yay. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yicky, yay. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yicky, yay.
Yay!
True story, folks, 100%.
Wow, that was a real toe tapper for me. I love that. That's great.
What a great song.
Yeah, that is really great. And here's just a note from Kevin.
Oh, hey, Kevin.
He says, "You're a great teacher, Brian Sutton, and you are his main teachers now. Thanks to ArtistWorks, and we're really happy to have you, Kevin." I don't know if you know him from the school or not.
Yeah.
Just another question here, specifically for Michael, then we want to hear Tony play. I think this is a really important question. It's one of the reasons why I put it up here, because so many people do ask us this, you know, can females learn vocals from you?
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of the principles of singing in terms of breath work and you know, resonance and relaxation are really the same for everybody. And one big thing of what we do in the school is ear training and harmony, because when you're building up people's knowledge and ability to, you know, find and hold harmony parts, and so I mean that's the same for everybody. And also, you know, we study, really get into, like, you know, Tony's talking about listening, you know, closely, and so I really try to emphasize when I teach a song, teach very specific versions. You know, I transcribe in detail from classic source recordings, and you know, so that includes, you know, singers, you know, like Bill Monroe, but also Hazel Dickens, and you know, it's so. And you know, you kind of learn it to sing it in your own voice. So, short answer, yes, absolutely. You know, there are you know, a few, you know, technical slight differences between, you know, male and female voices on average, but you know, the vast majority of, you know, what is covered in the course is really, you know, just same on principle for everybody, and you know, about drawing deeper into the music in terms of ornamentation and listening and harmony and all of that. And so, yes.
So the short answer is yes. And
I rarely give the short answer. If you
no. Well, we're not on the air for you to give, you know, one word answers. So I'm glad you explained that, though, because we actually do get that question a fair amount at ArtistWorks. Yeah. You know, I'm a female, can I learn from Michael? So I'm glad the answer to that is yes. And Gordon Ray has one final thing. He just wanted to say that he received your video exchange comments today, and so pleased to see that you are healthy and happy. So Tony, would you like to play something for us before we start getting closed down here today?
Sure, let me just make sure I'm in tune. And just to mention again that I'll be on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time doing my Quarantoni, the fourth in the series, and there'll be more to come. But I'll just be playing solo with a whole bunch of different instruments. So.
But where is that? They should just go to Facebook?
Yeah, just go to Facebook. They'll find it there.
Okay, Facebook. Yeah. And then, Michael, are you doing any live streaming at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear about that real quick.
This Friday evening at 8 p.m., I'm doing streaming for, there's a great venue and music school here in Brooklyn called Jalopy Theater and School of Music. And so they have a series of some of their regular performers called Stay the Folk at Home. So I'm going to be, that's Friday night on the Jalopy Theater, their Facebook feed. And so it'll be an hour-long set from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're on the West Coast, I'm not sure about if you're in Thailand. One of the things I love about our artists, we have students all over the world. So
I know it's true. It's true. It's true. And so I want to watch Tony's Quarantoni. I know that's gonna be a good one. So play us something, Tony.
All right. Well, one of my big heroes in not the banjo world, but the fiddle world was a guy named Richard Green, who I first heard play with the Greenbrier Boys in 1964. And then with Bill Monroe, he was with Bill Monroe from, I think, February of '66 for about a year. And he recorded an album called Bluegrass Time with Bill Monroe. And he's just incredible. And he's no longer playing, but he's doing architectural photography. And I hadn't talked to him in years. I played in his band for a little while, The Grass is Greener. And I decided to give him a call. It had been years since we talked, and I gave him a call 2 nights ago. And it was just great to reconnect with him. Like no time had passed. So I want to do a tune that I recorded with him on his duets album for Rounder. I learned the tune from him. It's a fantastic 5-part tune called Little Rabbit. And this will take maybe half an hour, if that's okay, Patricia.
That's about 29 minutes too short. Sorry.
Oh, okay. That's not the traditional ending, but
That was great, though. Thank you. Bravo,
Thank you.
bravo. Both of you guys are just a joy to be with, and separately and together, we always have a great conversation, whether it's music or family or wine and food, and I really value my friendship with both of you, and I feel like I can call you both friends, not just colleagues, and I look forward to many, many more years together where we're making music and teaching the world to play music too. And you guys are the folks we want to have by our side to do it too. So thank you for being the great teachers and terrific musicians that you are.
thank you so much,
Yeah.
Patricia. The feeling is totally mutual.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yep, absolutely. And I really appreciate the time that you took to speak with us today and answer all these questions and play a little bit for us. And I hope we get a chance to do it again soon. And for all of you out there, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yep.
And keep an eye out for Quarantoni and Michael Dave's playing from the Jalopy Theater. And ArtistWorks will continue to do more of these live broadcasts. Our next one, I think, is Eric Marienthal on the 29th. I might have Nathan East coming on the 27th. So
Cool.
we've got a few more happening, and I'm looking forward to talking to each of them. And so thank you guys for spending some time with us, and we'll see you on the next Dispatch from Home.
Thanks,
All right.
Patricia.
Thanks, Patricia.
All
Take
right.
care. Bye,
Take
everybody.
care.
Everybody. Yeah.